Hello everybody, hope you're all well wherever you are in the world today. We will start the talk very shortly, just waiting to finish the last IT connections, and we will start the video in a minute or two. Thanks very much for your patience. Now bear with me, just finishing all the last IT equipment, and we will start the talk very shortly. Hello Carmen, thanks for joining us. Thanks everybody who's actually tuning in today. I think we'll be good to go in about a minute. So bear with me, just hooking the last IT stuff, and we'll be good to go in a minute. Welcome Carmen, thanks very much. Delighted you're here. Hope you'll enjoy the talk. We'll be starting in about a minute, so just bear with me. Just waiting for the go ahead, and won't be too long now. So hello everybody, hope you're all well wherever you're in the world today. So for those who don't know me, my name is Nadia Bajrami. I am a strategic hypnotherapist, a mind coach, as well as a psychic medium, and I am based in Dublin, Ireland. Now today, this topic is about psychic mediums, myth versus reality. So this is a short talk about psychics and mediums, the myth versus the reality around psychics and mediums. Now, I don't do any live readings or any answering any questions on this. Is a talk. So anyone who wants any information, please feel free to go to my website. I'll put all the details after the call. Now today, thanks very much for joining me. I'm really excited to have this talk with you and explain how I work as a psychic medium, and also having this opportunity to debunk some myths and common beliefs around psychics and mediums. I want to talk about the facts and fiction around psychic and mediums. So first of all, before we start, I want to explain what is a psychic and what is a medium, and then we'll go around the myth and the common beliefs and explain what the reality is in fact. So what is a psychic? A psychic is basically a very spiritual person. Hi Priska, thanks for tuning in. A psychic is a very spiritual person, an extremely intuitive and gifted spiritual person who is able to perceive information that is beyond the normal reach of the five senses and gain insights into the past, present and future. So as a psychic, I establish a soul-to-soul connection with you, with the client, or we call also the sitter, to be able to deliver information about the past, the present, and the future, and offer insights into some of your life's challenges. So I just mentioned soul-to-soul connection, which is living person to living person connection. And I am fully convinced that we create our own reality and destiny based on our thoughts, our words, and our deeds. Now, as a psychic, myself, psychics in general, I'll talk about myself today because the talk is about psychic mediums and how I work as a psychic medium and the myth around psychics and mediums. So as a psychic, I'm able to tell you where you are headed in the near future based on your present thoughts and the energy that surround them. So this is very important to understand. I read your energy, and because we read your energy and your thoughts and the energy around them, this is the present moment. So if you decide to change your thoughts or your mind, you can alter the future outcomes. You have your own free will. This is very important to remember. You have your own free will to take the directions you feel you need to take in life. Now this is for the psychic, so soul-to-soul connection, living-to-living connection. And now, in a nutshell, as a medium and spiritually gifted being, I establish a connection with what we call discarnate entities i.e. between this world and the spirit world. So I engage in a real-time dialogue with the spirit of your loved ones who have passed away and can provide enough evidence to remove any doubts in your mind that the true communication is indeed taking place between your loved ones in spirit world and myself. Now, as a medium, my primary objective is to give evidence of life after death and also, of course, deliver loving and healing messages to you, my sitter. Mediumship readings are all about uplifting messages. Mediumship reading are all about giving you the love, the guidance from the people who care about you, the people who have passed into spirit world. Now, the same for psychic readings. I'm only giving you insights about what I pick up around you, about the energy around you, the people I pick up around you. It is only insights. Nobody can tell you what to do, okay? This is really, you have your free will. But it's just interesting when you go for a reading because it gives you, I would say it gives you insight from someone who doesn't know you and can give you this, I wouldn't even say maybe, guidance, but again, I'm very cautious with the word because I'll never say advice, I'll say guidance and insights. And then it's up to you to use what comes out, in the reading. Now, the rule of thumb is that all medium are psychics, but not all psychics are medium. Now, whilst anyone can potentially improve, the psychic abilities and develop as a psychic, it's more difficult to develop as a working medium. It takes more ongoing training, more development to really have to build what we call the power to be able to communicate between this world, the living, and the other side of the veil, the spirit world. Now, we will start talking about, as I said at the beginning of the talk, about the facts and the reality around psychics and mediums, because, I have, when my clients come to see me, or even when I have people inquiring about what I do, I hear a lot of different stories and I would say a lot of different beliefs that people have. And today, really, I would like to go through what a psychic is, like what a medium is, which we've been through now, but really explaining the facts about psychics and mediums and then debunking any myth, around that. So one of the questions I hear very often is, do real psychics exist and are also mediums real? Now, I would say this is the golden question that has been asked throughout the centuries. However, I would phrase it in a different way. I would say it's better to ask whether psychic abilities are real. In this case, let's focus on the psychics. Start with the psychic. I would say better to ask whether psychic abilities are real. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty, of, I would say, people that, might claim that they have abilities and then people go and see them and they're disappointed. Now, however, there are also a lot of amazing, experienced and gifted spiritual psychics with real abilities that have actually transformed and changed people's life for the better. As far as proof that psychics are real, there are millions of people who have reported having accurate readings and guidance from psychics. Now, I've decided to answer this age-old question by debunking some of the myth about, as I said, psychics and mediums and give you a better understanding of how we use our gifts and how they all use their gifts and spiritual tools to tap into a higher realm, giving you accurate answers to your questions and guiding you, giving you insight in different areas of your life. Now, just one little thing that is very important to point out is, it might sound very, I would say, simple to a lot of people, but I always like to repeat that, is real psychics, okay, real people, spiritual people who have psychic abilities, will never ask you for gifts or extra money or jewelry or anything. You won't be asked for to give them anything or give them money for spells or etc. Okay, so bear this in mind. So we know, we've heard there's been, some fraudulent cases in history, and we're not going to dwell on this, but I just want to say, when you go and see a real psychic, you pay for the reading, and that's it. You're not being asked to give anything else or any extra money for some spells or anything like this. This is my opinion. This is how I work, and this is how I think, psychics should work. So just, a bit of like a word of caution on this. Now, the bottom line is, if a psychic was nurturing and really wanted to help you, They would charge you for the time of the reading, but nothing more than that. That's just what I wanted to say. Now, with that being said, there are many acclaimed mediums and psychics that have amazing abilities, as I said before, in guiding, advising, and enlightening people's path. So whether you or people are stuck at a crossroads, have an important career, life question or decision to make, or simply need a deep-rooted spiritual awakening, many talented mediums have the gifts and psychics have the gifts, the tools and talent to help you in these areas. Now, some people who have been skeptic before have come out of psychic readings as total believers thanks to the accuracy of the reading. Okay, so once again, just to summarize the introduction is there are a lot of amazing people with spiritual, psychic abilities and mediumistic abilities, which we will see after that, the mediumship part. So it's actually really wonderful when you go for a reading with a professional, a working psychic or a working medium, because you come out with another point of view, with some guidance and some insights. Now, let's start with the psychics here, okay? And then we'll move on to the mediums. So how do psychics get their information? Now, real psychics use their intuition and what we call the abilities to provide you with guidance, as well as some people, various divination tools such as tarot cards or angel cards, numerology, etc., to give you specific personal insights. Most of these tools requires years of study and mentorship to learn and to master. So this is very important as well. You know, we all have psychic abilities. We all born with abilities. I mean, some people might not like what I'm saying, but we all have abilities. It's just about, do you want to develop your abilities and work as a psychic or as a medium, or you don't want to? So, but bear in mind, if you want to develop your psychic abilities, it's absolutely possible with work and training. Now, psychics and mediums, even though the means they use are different, the results are similar. They help reveal with answers a better perspective of situations and allow you to see your path ahead more clearly so you can make the best decisions, bearing in mind you always have your free will. Now, sometimes I get sidetracked because I'm so passionate about this, I could talk for hours, so I have to keep it short so I don't bore you all to tears. So let's see the first, what I call the first myth around psychics. The first myth, psychic are mind readers. Now, wrong. This is a myth, okay? Nobody is reading your mind. It would be pretty scary otherwise. Psychic are energy readers, so they pick up on situations on another realm. The soul level, your soul, human soul. They can decipher what is going on with you and anyone you ask about. More than anything else, a good psychic will sense how you are feeling and what's happening in your energy field, So they'll pick up on why you feel the way you feel and the struggle you may be having in making a decision. Now, for example, we can say if you're having trouble with a relationship, just as an example, a gifted psychic can use their intuitive tools, their abilities as well, to reveal a deeper layer of what the real issue is in order to provide the best advice. They can sense which choice provides a clearer, happier path for you. But remember, you have your free will. And I always say this, I actually chose the relationship example for a reason, because again, we can only give you what we feel from reading your energy. It doesn't mean, we will never, a professional psychic will never tell you to leave someone or to change something. They will only give you guidance, okay, and insights. Remember this, your free will always prevail. See psychics as some kind of new coaches, another type of coach who can help you. Now, psychics can sense with choice, as I said, provides a clearer, happier path, for you. But for example, they won't know your birthday or what your favorite song is, because we don't read your mind, we read your energy. And a good psychic won't even bother to try and read your mind, because the real deeper information is stored only in your heart and in your soul. And if a psychic needs certain mental information from you, they'll ask you. Every psychic works differently, and just because they ask for names or other information doesn't mean, that they aren't real. It just means that they might need a bit of extra details and to go deeper into the reading. Remember this as well. Now, for example, an astrologer generally needs your exact date, time, and place of birth in order to see your chart and find personalized answers related to your life. And it's the same for psychics. Now, for example, a medium might ask you for the name or a picture of your deceased one to facilitate a stronger connection with them. This information is the means to get to a good reading, not the ends. This is important. Now, second myth around psychics. Psychics always know everything. Wrong. Just like people, psychics can also make mistakes, because remember, we're all human beings, and we all have our flaws. We're not perfect, and we don't know everything. There's a reason also why us as psychics, people who work as psychics, also needs to be offline, also need some time off. The same way we come home from a hard day's work and try to unwind, psychics also need a quiet time to relax, recharge their energy levels. Okay? Now, providing readings can be demanding, a demanding work, and many psychics need time to clear the energies. So we can't be on 24/7, so we don't know everything, because obviously we're not working 24/7. And psychics can't know everything. It's not, now, why? Okay, I always say this is a myth, and it is a myth. And why? Because not only it is against human nature, but also the rule of the universe. We're not supposed to know everything, because life is also about discovering the beautiful things that there are in life. Now, sometimes, and also something important here, sometimes an answer, you for example, you go for a reading, you're expecting an answer, but the answer might be blocked because you are not ready or open to receiving an accurate answer. Now, sometimes the guides or higher powers are protecting you because the answer may change the way you think on a detrimental level. And a responsible psychic will ask to receive information that is only for your highest good, for your best interest, that serves your higher good and help you the most on your journey. Again, this is very important. It's all about, apologies, it's all about helping you, serving as a spiritual coach to give you insights and guidance, and we do everything from a place of upliftment and for your higher good. And just like you, as I said, each psychic is also on a journey. There's also always more to explore, more to learn. There's always more room to grow and increase our psychic abilities. We can always fine-tune, and this comes with training and experience. Now, there's also a big difference between psychics and what information they can access. Example, again, psychics can see the past, present, and some future, as I said, traveling within the dimension of time here in the physical world. And we talk about, as I said, a soul-to-soul connection. This is very important, okay? And just about this point, psychic mediums, so people who work also as mediums, on the other hand, as I explained at the beginning, cross the limitation of our physical world to connect with a higher realm, the spirit world, and connect with what we call the discarnate entities, spirits of your loved one. So here again, the two, psychics and mediums, require two completely different skill sets. Okay. So myth number 3, psychics should be 100% correct. Again, 100% correct. Well, I'll say no. Again, this goes with the myth number 2 that we just talked about. There are several things to keep in mind when getting a psychic reading. Most importantly is that the psychic is giving you a peek into your life and the situation you're asking about, if you ask a specific question, for example. It's not the whole picture. It's only what you need to hear in that particular moment. Again, remember, for your highest good, so you can make a next life decision more consciously. Sometimes you need to hear, a watered down truth to an even more honest answer at a later time. Okay, again, sometimes you're not ready to get an answer. So this is why it doesn't come. And I'm not saying this just to say, oh, you'll go for a reading and you'll not get anything. Absolutely not. But sometimes, for some specific questions, you're not deep down ready to hear the answer. So again, a psychic works for your higher good. And now, I can actually give you an example just to illustrate what I just said. Imagine that you're obsessed with an ex-partner, for example, and you're not open to accept that it's really over. In this case, a psychic may get an answer that you can accept, that gently guides you to move on, and as you progress, step by step, your psychic can reveal the true answer when you're finally ready to hear it. Okay? Again, especially in relationship, this is very important. If we could give you on the relationship side all the answers. Well, obviously us as psychics, we will also have had all the best relationships in the world. But no, we all make, we all go through some, maybe difficult relationships or relationships that we thought we didn't go through. So this happens to everybody because we're human beings. And remember, your future is not set in stone. You have many possibilities and paths ahead of you and free will to make your own choices in every moment. And this is why psychics can't be 100% correct. We're giving you what we pick up reading your energy. Now, as psychics, we can't walk your path for you, nor will we pressure you to walk a certain path. Even if you consult several psychics, you will always remain in control of your choices that you need to take in life. What you do with the psychic information you receive is what ultimately determines the outcome. Now, again, a psychic can tell you what will happen if you do something in particular, and your future can change based on whether you take their advice or not. No one can take away your free will. It's up to you to follow their advice or not. And I know I insist a lot on the free will part, but I just want people to understand, because I love, being a psychic medium for me is a true calling. And I really love helping people and having my clients, and I always like to insist on this. We're really here like coaches, spiritual coaches, extra help for you, just to help you unlock something. We're not here to live your life or to tell you how to live your life. Now, another thing to remember also about information, psychic information, is that sometimes timelines can be fuzzy. So most psychics can see a season or get a general idea of when something will happen, but it isn't always going to be an exact date. So, for example, I will tell people, well, I feel this might happen in winter time, in about a year's time, the winter time or spring. But it's not very often we can say, okay, this will happen on the 15th of March, 2023. Again, this is against the law of the universe. And depending on what you do, the outcome might change. So we can only give you approximate dates. Exact dates are rarely revealed, and even if they are, as mentioned above, remember, you have your free will, and this can change depending on what you do. Now, myth number 4. Thanks again to everybody who's joining me today on this live talk about psychics and mediums and the myth versus the reality. So now we're going to look at the myth number 4. Intuition equals psychic abilities. Now, yes and no. So it's not completely true, not completely wrong. Although very important, intuition is just a small part of being a professional psychic. Some of us psychics are naturally gifted and born with our abilities, but again, everybody is born with some abilities. Now, also, many psychics, myself included here, have undergone years of training in different, either schools or mentorship programs on methodologies. So we learn to meditate, clear our mind, clear our energy field, and ground our energy before we give a reading. So being a professional psychic is real work. It's not just using our intuition. It is a real work, and it needs training as well. But even though it is a career, we as psychics do what we do because we truly care about people, genuinely. And for me, I call this a true calling. By the way, I don't call this a work because it is a true calling for me. Now, true psychics believe we're giving the gifts, or believe we're supposed to develop I wouldn't even say the gifts. I don't like using the word gift, but abilities to share with the world, to help others live the best possible lives. And I don't like using gifts because, again, I believe we all have the abilities and we can either develop them, bring them to the next level or not. As I said, psychics spend many years expanding their skills, striving to become better and better while building a happy client base. Now, myth number 5. Online psychics don't offer legitimate readings. Now, the online environment has become very important, as we all know, since I would say the beginning of the pandemic, about a year and a half ago now. And a lot of people, not just psychic or mediums, I'm a mind coach and a therapist as well. We've actually reinvented ourselves. We had to find a way to help people, especially in difficult times, in lockdown, where mental health could be affected as well. We had to reinvent ourselves and pivot to another way of working, hence, the increased online work at the moment. So, saying that online psychics don't offer legitimate readings or an online reading isn't as good as in person, to me, is a myth. this is wrong. Again, this is my opinion. And I think this is a false belief that seeing a psychic in person is more legitimate than using an online psychic or talking to one on the phone, for example. Technology has made it possible for the best psychics from around the world to provide readings to clients in the comfort and privacy of their own home. Now, many psychics prefer online readings because they can share, what they do and help more people globally. And there is no indication that you will get a better reading if you meet in person with a psychic, if you visit them in person. In fact, actually, I'll go a bit further. In fact, it can help some psychics, or some, I don't like saying some people who claim they're psychics, to use your expression and body language to tell you what you want to hear. And this is more difficult when we do online readings, because online readings, we usually see only your face, okay? We don't necessarily look at, what you do with your hands or your body posture. So we're really connecting to you online, and again, read your energy and what comes from your energy field. And for this, when you develop as a psychic, when you use the training, the tools, whatever we use, depending on how people work, we don't need to see people in person, okay? It's not compulsory. And intuitive gifts operate outside of the realm of the physical world, And as I said, think of times yourself, you've had a feeling to call someone or had someone in your mind, and I don't know, a while or an hour later, a few minutes later, this person actually contacts you or calls you. Well, online readings allow you to access the most, I would say, the best information you need to hear, exactly the same as you would do in person. To maybe summarize this, what I call the myth about online readings, is that there's no difference. Someone who is actually a working psychic, who is professionally trained, can give you a very professional reading online, with all the online technology, and can do the same in person. Just remember this shouldn't stop you from getting a reading. And also, as I said before, we had to reinvent ourselves, and thus we can offer our skills to the world now. It's we can reach the world and help more people as well. So this is very important on the online reading side. Now, we've talked mainly about the psychics and the myth around the psychics. Now let's talk about mediumship and the myth around mediumship and unveiling the mystery around mediums and mediumship. Now, I'm sure if you watch some of the popular television shows about medium who help others connect with their loved ones, you might have a lot of questions, because there has been a lot of, even TV shows and films, etc., on series. Now, I love it when my clients just come out and ask what they want to know, and helping people understand mediumship and seeing those aha moments on the faces when they realize the truth, to me, is priceless. Again, when people come and ask me so many questions about mediumship, I love it, because you actually surprise them by giving them the truth around medium and mediumship. Now, mediumship doesn't have to be such a mystery, which is why I wanted to share some insight into just a few of those myths. So, mediumship myth number 1. If you're a medium, you must see spirits everywhere. I love this one. I love it because around me, people that don't know me very well, that just know I'm a medium, for example, they'll say, oh my God, how do? You must see, spirits, and you must see dead people everywhere, all day long. Well, obviously, I'm not sure if the answer to this one is a relief or a disappointment to some of you, but the reality is mediums don't see spirits everywhere. Because obviously it would be very overwhelming otherwise. In fact, for some mediums, even like seeing spirits, some people work with different senses. So I'm very much what we say clairvoyant, so I see a lot, but I don't see spirits all day long. So I have been learning myself to work with all the senses, but also I've been trained a lot. I've done a lot of training and still ongoing training to be able to switch off. Okay, so most trained medium can easily turn the ability off and on. And this is what is happening. When I started a few years back, obviously, you're very keen also when you start to work as a psychic and as a medium in this case, and you just feel like, oh, I want to see spirits, I want to see them all the time, and you have this fear that if you don't see them all the time, you might lose the ability, to work as a medium. But this is absolutely wrong. So we don't see spirits all day long. Proper training teaches you to switch on and switch off, which means that you actually switch on when you work and when you need to use your mediumistic abilities, and you switch off when you're not working, when you're with your friends, when you have time with your family, when you work, doing something else. Now, spirit world as well respects our boundaries. This is important. If they want their loved ones to come to us for a message, they will work the magic to arrange it. And also, why is it important to understand that we don't see spirits all day long? It's like approaching people, for example, in public places with messages from spirits would be an invasion of those people's privacy. So I personally usually only connect to spirit world. I ask them to come closer to me when I'm working, when my clients are practicing in circles, etc. Or when I want to have a private conversation with my guides, for example. And again, it's important because it is a true calling for me, but it's also a working activity. So we cannot have, a connection all the time because, again, it is a lot of energy. Remember what I said right at the start is us as human, as medium, we raise our vibration to meet with spirit world halfway. They lower their vibrations and they use us as a channel, hence the word medium. We meet halfway and we're also a tool for them to give the messages. So this requires a lot of energy. So of course we can't be switched on all the time or we will be very much drained as well at the end of the day. Now, myth number 2 is if you're a medium, you've known it your whole life. Now, as mediums, we all have a different story about how we became aware of our abilities. And some of us may have been connecting with the spirit world as children, which was my case, for example, but I didn't want to, to even think about that at the time. But we might not have known it was different from what our siblings or friends were able to do, for example, talking to imaginary friends. We may have figured it out, it was normal. Now, other of us didn't recognize the ability until the loss of a loved one, that happens as well, later in their life. Now, some experienced all the traumatic events that awoke the ability, Now, the different circumstances can go on and on, about how you acknowledge that, you are a medium or you can work as a medium. Now, my point is we weren't all talking to spirits from day one, or at least we may not have recognized that we were doing so. It took a lot of persuasion. Now, I'm just going to talk about me in this case. It took a lot of persuasion from the universe or from spirit world, from God, whatever you want to call it. Insert your choice of terminology here to get me to let go of my doubts and commit to my soul's purpose. And that's the best decision I've ever made. So for, a number of years, I wanted to be what I called in the past normal. I always had a corporate career. And when I could see spirit, I said, no, this is me. I'm tired. I'm mad. I'm losing my marbles. This is a lot of nonsense. So I actually tried to forget about it. I didn't want to acknowledge it. And obviously, a few years back when I came to Ireland, then I really embraced who I was. And I'm working now, fully as a psychic medium. But everybody's path is very different. To me, again, this is the best decision I've ever made. So if you wondered about the possibility that you could have mediumistic skills or ability, you are not alone. You are not alone at all. And the best way to find out is to learn more about it and give it a go. Give it a go if it's something you're very interested in. That doesn't mean you have to, go straight into, right, I'll work as a medium. And give readings professionally or paying readings. In fact, I would even advise against that. Myself, I did a lot of training before I really started working professionally. In fact, I would advise, as I said, against it. And there are a lot of books, classes, mentorship programs online or, probably in your area as well if you want to go face-to-face when we are able to do so. There's also Facebook groups, etc. that give you the opportunity to learn more and practice with others who are wondering the same things about themselves. By the way, I will also be probably in the fall, in the autumn, I will also be organizing some basic beginners workshops, online workshops about how to develop your psychic abilities, and another one also about how to develop and trust your mediumistic abilities. Now, I will obviously post all this on my page when this is available. And myth number 3, if you are supposed to be a medium, it just happens. So that goes a little bit together with what we just seen. I believe the universe as a way of pushing us along our path. As I said, for some of us, it takes longer to be open to following the path that, we're supposed to follow. there are certain learnings or healings that have to happen first. Hence, again, me being in my mid-30s when I started and I was ready to surrender and started to work as a therapist, as a coach, and as a psychic medium. Now, but the mediumstic abilities does not come easy or without hard work, okay? So I spoke before about the psychic abilities. We all born with some, abilities, and then we either develop them or not. Now, the mediumistic abilities, I also believe they're in each one of us, but it takes more time to develop this because, again, we are about energy here, okay? It requires more energy. So, hence, when it requires more time to develop and ongoing training, by the way. I'm taking ongoing classes because I need to stay tuned into, what's happening and maybe find even better techniques to connect, to have even a stronger link, etc. Now, while it may be something deeply ingrained within our DNA, it's not, again, something we can just snap our fingers and know how to use to its full capacity. Now, I read a book a while back, Finding Your Way in a Wild New World, Finding Your Way in a Wild New World by Martha Beck, in which she pointed out something very interesting, that to become proficient in something, we need to practice at least 10,000 hours. So if you do the math, that breaks down to 5.5 hours a day, every day for 5 years. Or if you're even more ambitious and want to do it faster, it's 13.5 hours per day, every day for 1 year. And why am I saying this? Because mediumship is just like every other ability. It takes practice, practice, practice. I won't say this enough, especially for people who are developing the mediumship, is really practice. Go to circles, join groups, practice with, friends, etc. And so, to grow your confidence as well. Now, some people don't necessarily want to take the mediumistic abilities they were born with to the professional level, and as I said, this is fine, that's absolutely okay. Not everyone with mediumistic abilities was meant to use them for professional purposes. Some were given the ability to utilize them in the personal life or as an added bonus to other abilities they might also have. No matter what the purpose for your intuitive or mediumistic abilities, it's always helpful to understand the fundamentals, the basis of them, and how they can assist you in everyday life. And if you're curious about learning to use your abilities, the intuitive abilities you were born with, and exploring the world of mediumship, as I said, there's plenty of books, classes, workshops, mentorship programs, and as I will be offering some in the fall as well. And there are a lot of great mediums and teachers and tutors out there. You just need to follow your intuition to find the ones that resonates with you, because it's like anything. I was very lucky to find amazing tutors for my mediumship developments because they resonated with me, and you'll have just to do the same. Now, this is the end of the talk about, psychics and mediums, the myth versus the reality. And now, for those who want to stay with me, we will just go and I will give you a tip or a very short guided, it's not even a guided meditation, it's just some eyes closed work. It takes a few minutes and it's called On The Go Psychic Protection. So for those who really want to do this, want to stay with me for those extra couple of minutes, please close your eyes, make yourself comfortable, and please make sure your attention is not required, that you're not driving or operating any machinery, because it's a little bit of eye-closed work. So you need to be, relaxed and just in a comfortable position where your attention is not required. So if you're ready now, just close your eyes, please, and listen to my voice. Now you can use this technique on the go anytime you quickly need to activate protection. With your eyes closed, you just relax. Now, the more you practice the very short method, the faster and stronger the effects. Now, with your eyes closed and totally relaxed, imagine a glowing light of brilliant white in your solar plexus. See or feel it as a glowing, pulsing warmth. The light begins to fill your body. It expands into all areas, both above and below your solar plexus. filling your body and limbs completely. The glowing light fills in any weakened areas or tears in your aura by creating psychic bandages of protection in those areas which are weak or injured. The light strengthens the boundaries of your physical body and strengthens your auric field, creating a bubble of white light of protection. This bubble is only permeable by positive, helpful energies. All unwanted energy bounces off, protecting you from any harm or ill, since only positive, loving energies can penetrate this globe of light. And in your own time now, you can come back to everyday awareness and open your eyes. Come back to the here and now. Get ready to enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Thanks again so much for tuning in with me today. I will put the link to my website. Should you have any questions, please feel free to either private message me, email me, WhatsApp me, go to my website. I will be delighted to answer any questions you might have. And for any readings or any bookings, please, again, feel free to contact me or to go to my website. I have another live talk on Facebook tomorrow at 12 p.m. Dublin, Ireland time about how hypnotherapy can help you with self-love and increasing your own self-love and worth of self. So if you're interested, feel free to come back tomorrow, 12 p.m. on Facebook Live, Irish time. In the meantime, thanks again, everybody, for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed the talk. And you all take care, you stay safe, and we talk soon. Bye-bye.